into another episode of the Radioactive Papercuts podcast. I'm your host, Josh Kennedy. We're going to be doing another radioactive review on the most recent episode of Peacemaker. Joining me today is my good buddy, Noah King Bates. How are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, I can't complain. How about yourself?
Another wonderful day in the neighborhood, as they say. I'm doing great, man. I think today we're going to be talking about, obviously, the new episode of Peacemaker, which is episode 6. And we're going to, first off, I thought it'd be fun to do some DC reading recs, just some graphic novel collections. And I'll let you know ahead of time. So we'll kind of go back and forth on some fun ones. We won't spend too much time on each of them because we could be sitting here for hours talking about what our favorite and stuff. But we'll spend a minute or two on each one, and then we'll move on to Peacemaker. Sound good to you?
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
All right, let's do it. I will let the guest go first. Please bring us with your number one. Not
all right,
order.
Right. So my number one would have to be Superman Earth 1.
Interesting. I had Batman Earth 1 and I swiped it. I took it off because I was like, I got a lot of other ones, but I haven't read Superman Earth 1, so please tell me about it.
So the reason I picked Superman Earth 1 and the reason I said it first is I downright hated Superman before I read Superman Earth 1. I could not stand him. He was just too perfect. He was legit. Yeah, he was so boring and just the poster child of could do no wrong right next, like he beat out Captain America, and that says something. But Earth 1 has him flirting with women, taking his power to in a way that's like, oh, he's like a kid in a candy store. He doesn't quite understand his responsibilities quite yet. He's learning, he's getting there, and he's doing a great job, but he definitely has temperament. He has anger sometimes. He has legit emotions that make sense for someone who will outlive us all, who has to deal with all those things. And it really, it fleshes away the good boy Superman and just makes him Superman. And that's,
more of a relatable guy. That's really cool. And you saying that does it gives me a little push. Maybe I'll give it a shot. I've personally tried once or twice. I've never finished a Superman graphic novel. I can't do it. I've started a couple. I'm just like, bored. Put it down. I'm like, there's not enough goth stuff in here.
Then I recommend wholeheartedly then Superman Earth 1 because the Earth 1, the Teen Titans, Batman, like you said, like they are more like grounded.
Yeah.
So they ground Superman again in just emotional turmoil. Like he has to pay rent. He flirts with the girl next door. I think he bangs her.
Oh,
but either way, exactly. It's like, look at him. Premarital
things is not just Lois. Yeah, I think that, I'm no expert, and clearly Superman's a huge character. I just think one of the things that's so annoying about him is like he has the potential to be the galactic threat and like do more of the spacefaring stuff like the Guardians of the Galaxy or like the Green Lantern Corps, but instead he takes those powers and keeps them on Earth and protects one city, and it's just like, I don't know, man. This kind of seems like minor league.
And fights one dude. Like, yeah, he fights other people, but he just has this real hard beef with this one guy, this one Earthling. It's like it would make more sense if like his biggest adversary was just Darkseid by himself, or like,
right.
But it's a dude. It is a just a smart guy.
Yep. Stupid Lex Luthor. They've done fun versions of him though, so we'll give him a pass. But that's beautiful recommendation. I think I'm gonna give it a shot. So congratulations on getting me to sign up for that. All right, my number one. I did Flashpoint: The World of Batman. Are you familiar with this graphic novel?
Yes, I'm familiar with that one. Flashpoint is one of my favorite DCs. So I own the regular, just that main one, but I know of the one you're talking about. I just never read it.
I bought the physical copy of it back when it came out quite a while ago. I think it was when it came out, or it was when I first found the comic store, whatever it was. It's cool. So for the audience out there that doesn't know, I'll give you a quick pitch. It's essentially if Bruce Wayne died. So if you're familiar with Flashpoint, it's those characters. and it's more Batman heavy adventures. Because I believe in Flashpoint Primary, you don't even know that Martha Wayne is the Joker in that universe. That's something that you kind of find out, or at least gets expanded on within this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I believe
mentioned?
you know that it's her because he shouts Martha, and I think he like grabs her, and she has the smeared blood
Oh
across
yeah,
her
the
face.
spirit blood of Frost. Yep, you're right. The panel is there, but there's the actual backstory, and plus there's a cool like penguin thing going on. So I'd recommend that. Probably read Flashpoint first just to make it make sense, but one of my personal favorites. So that is my number one rec.
All right. Mine are all because of the reason I love DC is because it's so dark. So I'm trying to find like or think of one that's like a little bit more bubbly. But no, my next one is
Mine are all dark.
yeah, my next one is Grant Morrison's Batman Arkham Asylum. It's him going through the twisted, like after Arkham Asylum gets taken over by the Joker and everything, and he has to go inside and take care of it.
Is it based off of the video game? Is it like
no? It's before the video game. There is one that's called Arkham Unhinged.
Okay, yeah, I read Arkham, like the Arkham City through Arkham Knight graphic novels, but I never did the Asylum one. So, okay, that's good to know. I haven't read that personally, and I've read a lot of Batman graphic novels. So,
yeah, it's one that I was basing a interactive play about, but the full title is called Arkham Asylum: A Serious House on Serious Earth.
Oh.
Yep, and I was basing an interactive play about it, or like almost like a scare house type thing about it. But yeah, it's Batman going through Arkham Asylum while it is overrun by the villains. So Arkham Asylum, the game, takes inspiration from this storyline because this was created.
This was before the game then, so
I believe so. Let me quick.
Okay. The game came out in
1989. Yeah,
oh,
yeah. This was,
yeah, they definitely took notes from then.
Good amount of time.
Very good. Yeah. Awesome. Another one. Man, you're killing it, Noah. You're bringing ones that I haven't read. I hope I have a couple you haven't read. Next I have Heroes in Crisis, which we discussed this a little bit over on the Marvel Stuff podcast. If you guys haven't heard our most recent episode, Noah made a wonderful appearance and we appreciated it. But Heroes in Crisis, I mean, you've read it as well, so please you tell me what you like about it and I'll go on it a bit as well.
I loved it for the part that maybe not very many people liked it for. I loved the humanizing of the heroes in their little interviews.
I think
every single, even the ones that are one word or like a sentence or something like that, are so amazing. And my favorite ones would be the Robin ones.
All the Robin ones are so good. And then like I love Stephanie Brown's was so good because she's like, they didn't mention me, did they? They never remember me. And it's like, oh, that hurts. But every one of them, it lists like what the other one's good at, and they don't know where they fall within the mythos of Batman. So yeah, so good. I loved it. That's one of the coolest interactions. Plus, spoiler alert. We probably shouldn't spoil too much. There's some.
Yeah. We want them to read it.
We want them to read it, so I won't spoil it. There's some fun stuff with both Wally West and some fun stuff with Roy Harper. And Roy Harper, he's always been kind of one of those guys that I really root for within comic books. His whole thing that went on back in the early 2000s, it was the rise of Arsenal or something like that.
Yeah, all the drug stuff.
Yeah, the drug stuff and Star City. Well, that was even prior to that. That was the Green Lantern, Green Arrow crossover, but he was dealing with the drugs and stuff, and Star City had just been blown up by some nuclear powered guy, and his daughter died within that universe. So just really, really emo boy stuff. So sorry, that was really adding another recommendation onto my recommendation, but check out Heroes in Crisis. It humanizes characters and gives them some really good stuff to talk about. So we're in agreement.
100%. Yes. Oh yeah. I guess my last one that I just cannot rave enough about. See, I want to pick a phone, but I can't. I have to pick my favorite comic of DC of all time, and that is Batman Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood. Oh my God, it's so good. The animated movie is one of my favorite animated movies ever made. The
Yes,
fact,
and
yeah, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say like that in what is right under it, and also you should read before reading Under the Red Hood because it's just fun. Is Hush. Hush
Oh,
into
I
Under the Red Hood makes a phenomenal story of Batman
yeah,
and how
Hush,
he interacts with the people
so
around
good.
him.
Yeah, Hush. I didn't put it on my list, but it's one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. So I'm surprised that I didn't include it. But yeah, Batman Hush, fantastic. Little side one just for you if you haven't read it. There's something called Red Hood: The Lost Days. That's a collection of kind of some stuff that covers Jason Todd's story between being revived and returning to Gotham. So it's a fun little reading event there. But I can't speak highly enough about Batman Under the Red Hood, man. It's so good. So yeah, audience, get out there and watch that. I've got a few more on my list, so if you've got some that you're even thinking of, feel free to jump in, and I'll just
All
go
right,
through
yeah,
a little bit of a
I
list
got.
here because I did too many. Is what I did. My next one, I considered it technically DC, even though it was Vertigo when it was published, but it's simply entitled Death, and it's by Neil Gaiman. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. He reads his book through audio, just audiobooks and Audible, and he narrates. He's got a really interesting voice. The universe building that he does within his books is unreal, and Death is one of my favorite characters he's ever created. Set within the Sandman universe, she's the older sister of Morpheus, the god of Dream or Dream himself, whatever version you want to talk about. But it's essentially a collection of her best moments throughout that series that they did back in like the 80s and early 90s. So it's fun reading for sure. And there's an audio on Audible. They did a couple of audiobooks over there that were like audio dramas. So they got like
Mhm.
cast to play the voices, like James McAvoy was the voice of Morpheus. And then
Yeah, I see that they had done that.
it's so good. I finished the first one like about a year ago, and the new one just came out a few months ago, and I'm in the middle of it right now. And they got the girl that plays Darcy in the Thor movies. Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings plays the
Yeah,
voice of Death. So she's a fun character throughout that series, and yeah,
interesting. Is Death more of like a an upbeat person, or does Kat Dennings just
that's
do a really good?
no, she is an upbeat thing. That's the coolest thing about Death is she takes people to their final resting place, but the way she's depicted is she's like, like an early 20s goth looking girl. She's got like this cool eyeliner thing she does. She's got milky white skin, dark hair, very 80s in most versions because that's when the character was created. But her character, there was a speaking of Under the Red Hood, they did the interactive Blu-ray release. What was it called? Death in the Family. They did a
Oh
Blu-ray
yeah,
version
yeah,
of that
yeah.
where you select your own adventure. I believe it was on that one where it was one of the extra shorts, and there was one called Death on there. I would recommend watching that. I think it's on like YouTube if you wanted to see it, but it's about 15 minutes, and it really gives you an idea of what that character's like. So if you don't know too much, go check that out.
I
And
I don't. So yeah, you got me stumped. You
yeah,
got one on me.
well, in fairness, I definitely went Vertigo and not DC. I added another one that wasn't Batman because I'm a very Batman heavy reader, so I had to make sure I get some other DC guys in there. Green Lantern, Blackest Night,
Mine was
fantastic
Brightest
storyline.
Day.
Yeah, bright. You put Brightest Day, nice.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Those Jeff Johns, I believe, did that story arc, or at least part of it. I don't know if
Yes,
he did
yes, it
all
was
of it.
just
Yeah.
Johns.
That's what I thought. Really, just the way that it introduces characters that have died in the past and brings them back as Black Lanterns and have like that, just the torture of them fighting their own family and siblings and significant others. It's so good. The villain Black Hand, he's probably one of the darkest villains there is, which is pretty crazy because we've got some dark dudes out here, but he intrigues me quite a bit as like a hardcore villain. So he's really good, and he's featured quite a bit in those two storylines, obviously.
Oh yeah.
You got another
I
one
really
on?
like. Oh,
Go
I'll just talk about Brightest Day because it is legit the tail coin flip of that story because Blackest Night is Dark Knight is so just heavy.
Yeah.
And Brightest Night and Brightest Day brings on this like sense of rebirth, this sense of hope, this newfound love, and it adds new characters. Like we get Jackson Hyde, Aqualad. He gets his powers.
He's recently I don't know if it hasn't been a main thing about his character, but he's recently joined the LGBTQ plus community, and he's a very important character within this new DC universe where it was a soft reboot of Rebirth. They're featuring him as like a series runner, so he's been pretty cool. I'm gonna have to get in on those, but I like him in Young Justice. He's great.
Yeah, he's great in Young Justice. I really enjoy that. He's good in the New Teen Titans, the Rebirth, as well as like the beginning soft reboot that they started in New 52. Both are really good. I'm enjoying what they have to offer with him. And again, DC does a really good job of like when they have a character come out and stuff like that, it's just like boom.
How do they get you to care about all of their characters, man? I don't understand, because I always go for it. Like, Batman has so many sidekicks, and I'm just like, there's no way they could do something different with this one. They've done everything. And then they do, and I'm like, man, I like this one now.
Yeah, this one's cool. The only one that I haven't read enough about, and you know, that's just on me, is Stephanie. I know of Stephanie.
Yep.
But she sadly has been to the wayside in terms of like my knowledge of her, and I gotta fix that.
Yeah, and it's hard because she doesn't have that many. One, she was only Robin for a few issues, like maybe a graphic novel or two. She didn't keep the mantle for very long. And through the DC reboots, she was missing completely from the New 52 for quite a while. She was missing for the beginning of Rebirth. She's around right now though. She's actually featured in a brand new comic book that the second issue just came out, and it's called Batgirls, and it's Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain as two different Batgirls in Gotham, and Barbara Gordon's playing her Oracle role. So I haven't read it personally, but it looks.
Wait, did she get shot again?
No, she just does Oracle stuff too. Yeah, the way they explain it, she's actually featured in the current Nightwing run quite a bit too. Is she has this like technology that keeps her spine together, so they don't want to push it too hard because it's iffy, and it's like if we break it again, then she plays it safe a lot of the time, but when she's needed, she puts on the Batgirl cowl as well.
Okay, I was about to say, I mean, in New 52, they talk about the spine technology thing, because that's how she became Batgirl again in New 52. Yep. So I was just like, oh, what?
They carried that over. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't read Batgirl heavy, but she, like I said, recently she's been featured in the Nightwing stuff, and I've been reading every issue of Nightwing since like 2011, the month they come out. So, which I'm gonna go rapid fire on my Nightwing recommendations at the end here. I put them to the side because I'm like, you can't talk about Nightwing for an hour, dude. You just put your 3 minutes in, leave it over there. Couple more. I got a couple other little ones. Batman White Knight. I believe we've discussed this before as well. Yeah. Essentially, Joker is playing innocent and is suing Batman, and there's an interesting little turn on that one. Have you looked into this one at all?
After we had talked about it, I wanted to look into it. I just sadly haven't been able to pick up any comics lately because I've just been, if I'm not 3D printing stuff, I've just been working.
Yeah, fair enough. And yeah, it's no rush. It is a good storyline though. A team up book that I included that is not Batman, even though Batman's in the title. It's Batman and the Outsiders.
Yes.
The reason I like it so much is because one, Batman is hardly in it. Not that I dislike Batman, but I like them featuring the other characters. And it's a fun team that's Black Lightning, Signal, Duke Thompson. He's been a fun new Batman sidekick. Orphan, which is Cassandra Cain before she retook on the Batgirl mantle. And then Katana is also joins the fray a little bit later. So it's just a fun, it's a fun team up book. I think it's 3 volumes if I remember right. I've already read it all, but I would recommend it to the readers. So check that out.
Another one I have it is also not a Batman, because I mean Batman is also my favorite, but it is the Judas Contract Teen Titans.
Ooh, the Teen Titans, the original 80s one or the weird reboot kind of one?
The original 80s one. I haven't
Yeah.
read the new reboot. But that being said, as I cannot talk up Teen Titans New 52. I don't care what anyone says. I thought the introduction of Bunker and the rest of them was the best that we had gotten in a while.
Bunker a lot. Yeah, I loved what they did with those characters, where they specifically divided the Titans and the Teen Titans. I thought that was super important because the Titans featured the quote unquote original Titans that were the sidekicks. So we got like Arsenal, Donna Troy, Nightwing, Aqualad, not Jackson Hyde. I believe he goes by, is it Artemis? I don't know. It's something like that, but good stuff. Titans is great, but Teen Titans, super fun.
Tempest.
Tempest, thank you. I was like, Artemis is definitely not right, but I couldn't think of it. Yeah, the new Teen Titans Bunker, he's a really fun character. I like his abilities. He's got the psionic bricks. He's been pretty cool. They got Beast Boy and Raven on that team. Tim Drake's Robin having the relationship with Connor Kent that kind of was missing for a while. So because they're like best friends, and there was a period of time where they didn't have them together, and it was annoying for most people.
Yeah. And I just seeing Tim lead a team and be Batman and him start to realize that he was becoming Batman was really fun. Because like the way that he manipulated people was very
the manipulation.
Batman-esque.
I really liked how not to spoil too much, but he hooks up with a couple of teammates at the beginning just because like he feels like he's in this weird control thing, and he's like, oh well, I'm gonna be. It's nice because it shows him as an irresponsible teenager, which we need to see more of from Batman sidekicks, because we get that you're trained by Batman, but you're also still
still a kid.
Exactly. Yeah, good rec, like that one. In a newer sense, it's actually, I've read every single issue so far, is Jace Tim Fox from he's Lucius Fox's son. He's featured as the next Batman, is what it was when they did the weird crossover with the Magistrate and Future State. And then currently it's called I Am Batman. I'm reading that as well. And in the most recent comic book, it shows that he's going to be going to New York. So we're going to get a Batman in New York, which is going to be pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
All of these are written by John Ridley, who's an Academy Award winning writer. He did 12 Years a Slave. So it's the writing on it is just unreal. So I can't recommend that book enough. Do you have any other ones you wanted to hit on? I'm going to go rapid fire Nightwing, and then we'll talk Peacemaker.
All right, sounds good. I guess my last big one that I would talk up, it is Batman, but it is The Long Halloween.
Oh, so good. Yeah, you got some classic ones in there, and I respect that, because they're just, we wouldn't have the DC universe the way it is.
Yeah, because I mean, other than that, I would tell people to start at New 52. People hate it, but it's a good, and if you like start to like it, then the stuff that you read past that will be greater, will be like just as good.
Yeah.
But they tell some really good stories. The introduction of Static Shock in New 52, Firestorm getting his own comic,
getting a comic book
in New 52.
They gave everybody a title at the beginning of New 52. It was crazy.
I feel like Steel had one. Like they were legit just pumping out.
There's a guy called Talon who is he got a title later, and I read that one as well. That was pretty good. Yeah. New 52, I had read comic books prior, and I had a little bit of a collection going, but 2011, we're talking 11 years ago at this point. So that's kind of when my love for comic books, like reading every single month, that's where it started. Was we got Red Nightwing, which was a questionable choice, but it was fine. Some storylines were unreal in that. So yeah, you guys definitely check out New 52. I'm going to go rapid fire on Nightwing just because he's my favorite, and I have to. So Nightwing New 52, the first 2 volumes, we got Traps and Trapezes and the Night of Owls. It's essentially the build up to him being revealed that he was technically supposed to be part of the Court of Owls. Some of the best stuff they've ever done with Nightwing. That's one of the greatest things that they've added as like a tier to his character that we didn't necessarily have before. And the fact that Haley Circus was like, they were a front in a way to getting the new Talons into the Court of Owls, and that's just crazy next level writing stuff. So the first 2 volumes do exactly that, and then I put Nightwing the Gray Sun Legacy, which is also that's in Rebirth, but it takes some of those characteristics and it goes further into the Court of Owls stuff. So that's all canon. Definitely check those out. And then finally, Nightwing New Order. It was a limited series, and I think it was 6 issues. And it was essentially, it wasn't canon or anything. It was an Elseworld story, but Nightwing betrays the superpowered beings of the DC universe and like depowers everyone. Like Starfire gets her powers taken away. Superman gets depowered quite a bit, and like he somehow was like the front of this new organization called the New Order, and he's like the prime guy of it. So he took the powers away from all the superpowered people because they were sick of all the tragedies that happen within the DC universe, like cities getting blown up and millions of people dying. And they took such a lovable character like Nightwing, and they put him as like not an antagonist, but a little bit of an antagonist because he's the front of the New Order. One of my favorite storylines, I think, ever. So check that out.
So before we get into Peacemaker, I have to quick ask you then, what were your thoughts on Spiral?
The spy organization when the Grayson arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was into it. I didn't care. It was interesting because the death of Nightwing hit hard in the DC universe, and like everybody thought he was dead with the exception of Batman. So the actual issue 30 that came out from the New 52 it was him just fighting Batman and throughout the Batcave, which is visually really cool. But there was an unreleased, which I have a copy of, an unreleased issue 30 for Nightwing that was every one of the Robins and like his Teen Titans teammates. They were at his funeral, and it was going through just a few panels of memories from each one of them. And he is watching his own funeral happen. It's so good. It was so good. I wish they would have stuck with that one instead of what they released. But yeah, the Spiral organization, it kind of, I mean, it was a little basic, took some ideas that have already been done before, but at the same time, I didn't mind them taking Grayson out of the Nightwing out of the main DC universe for a little while. Not a big deal to me. How did you feel about it?
I didn't like it, but I mean, I know I'm not. There was just something about it. It felt too James Bondy for a.
It was a little James Bondy. Yeah.
Yeah,
they're trying something new. I respected it. I would never list that as one of my favorite Dick Grayson storylines, but the fact that they did it it means that they're super invested in that character and they're willing to try some new stuff. So I give it a pass. I'm glad it got rebooted in Rebirth, and they haven't gone back to that. But that's the interesting thing about DC is when they reboot something, they essentially just take their favorite storylines from the last reboot, and they're like, okay, that's canon. That's within the characters' memories now, but the bad stuff, we cut it out. It's gone.
Yeah, they pick and choose.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'm glad I got to talk up my boy Nightwing, and we were a half hour into this podcast. So
let's go. Which is fine because when it comes to this episode, a lot happened, but not a lot of it to me was like take a noteworthy.
Yep. So let's get into it. Peacemaker episode 6, or Myrn After Reading. Fun episode. It was okay. The ending climax montage sequence was really the highlight of the entire episode, but we can talk about some of the other stuff that happened. So we're brought into this thing. I loved how he was the show and tell for the janitor's daughter.
Yes.
So funny. Classic James Gunn stuff right there. And the fact that he was getting his feelings hurt, and he shit talked yet another Justice League member in the Flash.
and then talked up Wonder Woman.
He's like, yeah, she was effing me from across the room. He's like, what? I said effing. Yeah, just the idea of him being allowed in a high or a middle school is super funny to me because there's no way they would allow that.
A little bit more backstory.
Yes, we did. One, I mean, you talking butterflies or for Peacemaker himself?
Peacemaker, when the kid asked him what's his origin story, and we saw.
Said, I don't have one in a general sense, but it was him that punched his brother, so we got that much information. That hurt my feelings. I was like, man, that hurts, dude. That really hurts.
But I feel like it's gonna be turnaround, and we're gonna learn that his dad had them fight, and he just didn't think that.
Yeah,
I could see. Win.
something like that happening, or he wanted the other brother to win and he tried to give him an advantage or something. I mean, we're gonna see. There's only 2 episodes left of the show left. Left twice, whatever. And yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm excited for it. This show has been a highlight for the last month for me personally. It's just super fun to watch, and obviously getting a podcast on it is always a good time. But this specific episode, like you said, we got to see that fun stuff at the school, and then we move on, and it shows Adebayo essentially finding out that Harcourt already knew about Myrn. Did you see that coming? And Economos, and he plugs his ears.
When they explained it, I was like, that kind of tracks. Like the way that they explained it did make a genuine like understanding of like, yeah, he took a full-on blast to the face and was fine.
It is funny that they point out things that us as the audience just kind of dismissed or like whatever, it's a TV show, but really they know that it's like, yeah, actually he would probably have died if he wasn't. And then the fact that he did have all the intel on the butterflies that wasn't available to the rest of the organization that they're part of made a lot of sense. I just want one more note. When Myrn had Adebayo in the street, I thought for just a second, I was like, are we getting Waller right here? Are we getting Waller? And it was hardcore. Anyway, go ahead.
Myrn, the actor, 100% props to him in this episode.
Yeah, he killed it. He killed it.
He acted his ass off because, again, we had only seen him show little to no emotion in the to have him like be like, oh no, I am the outlier in my group.
That was smart because you were even skeptical of him throughout the show. Like he seems too flat, but actually he was doing that to try and prove the opposite because the butterfly is the one that's actually emotional.
Yeah, so he was probably doing that to mask himself, unless butterflies can see each other.
I feel like they probably can. We'll see.
Yeah, there's probably some kind of sense.
There's probably some way for them to know that they're talking to another butterfly, but
although maybe not, because he didn't know if the children were, unless he was playing up the fact of.
Well, if you remember, he said, just kill him, just kill him, just kill him, and he had no explanation. Maybe the explanation was he already had the answer, but he couldn't tell Peacemaker that he knew because it might give away his position. I don't know. There's probably some logical
there's something there.
For it. Yeah, there's something there. Fun stuff. I liked it a lot. Turned things on its head a bit, and then everybody is privy to that information except Chris. So that's unfortunate for him. What else really happened in this episode, man? There wasn't a whole lot.
No, there was a really fun Eagly. Yeah, I was gonna say there was some really fun Eagly attacking everybody.
We can talk about that. Yeah. Vigilante meets up with Peacemaker back at his trailer, and they're hanging out, and he's clearly still taking care of the butterfly that was once part of the congressman. And the runaway sequence, because Peacemaker doesn't keep his phone by him, and then Vigilante's Barbie girl ringtone. So they make their escape through the skyline, which I don't know how many mobile homes you know of that has a sky entrance, but whatever. And they try and make their escape across the trees, and of course Vigilante screws it up and falls out of the stupid tree.
There's the turquoise. The questioning of
Goth. Is your favorite what is your favorite color? Yes and no questions. Is your favorite color teal? God. Yeah, I love Vigilante's character because he's so stupid. It's the best. I really appreciate it about him. And Detective Song playing I'm not surprised that she's had a big role recently, but that's the fact that she went behind the higher up officers back to get the White Dragon released was interesting and builds us up for quite a fun finale for this show or season.
Does. But and you know what? I get that, like, some cops just truly want to get the right guy and stuff like that.
Right.
And Not saying that what she did wasn't, because I mean by law he was not guilty, but also he's an accomplice. You went in like
Yeah,
he helped.
yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I don't know what the idea was behind it. Song gets taken over by a butterfly anyway, so who cares, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. White Dragon's free. There's a butterfly invasion because of the butterfly that took over. We get to see some more of the like an army, like very Men in Black. That's what this episode reminded me of a lot.
Yeah. Oh, there was a really really nice moment that immediately, like, I sadly didn't go anywhere because he immediately got taken over by the butterflies too. But when Goff, that's just what I'm going to call Madam Butterfly, um, when Goff takes over Song and talking to her partner, she was like, "Oh, she had feelings for you.
She is very fond of you. Yeah,
Yeah, she was
it
very
was.
fond of you."
I liked it. Yeah, it was a nice little thing for our side characters that immediately got taken away from us, but
Yeah, I
still maybe
thought
it'll
that he was going to get out of it. I thought the male one was going to have to like work with Peacemaker, like
Betty
all
Cooper's
the other
dead?
cops were. Huh? Yeah.
Call him Betty Cooper's dead.
Betty Cooper, yeah, Betty Cooper, Riverdale, whatever his murderer name was.
I don't remember, but yeah, that anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's just what I know him from.
Right, no, I thought he was going to get away and have to work with, like Peacemaker and them because, his best friend got taken over, but
It did seem like
all
it
of
was
them
gonna.
got taken over.
They had a couple of red herrings just in that sequence where they showed him running away. They're like, "Oh, maybe he'll get away," and then it showed the creepy murderer police boss
Police
guy.
officer, who I
Yeah,
thought was
locked himself.
already a butterfly.
Yeah, no, turns out he's not. But yeah, he locked himself in his office, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so he's gonna get away." And then he's immediately taken over too. It's like, okay, well, now everybody is. The butterflies attacking, cool stuff. I liked the little scene with Peacemaker and Harcourt. How Harcourt was putting the dove of peace on the gun for him. That was appreciated, and the fact that he finally admitted that it wasn't about the good dove of peace. He's just tired of killing people. And then she's like, "Well, now's not the time to get soft." He's like, "I got no problem killing aliens, especially the bug kind." Like, okay.
But it was nice to finally get that admission because we had all been feeling it from when they tried to kill the kids and stuff. When they told him to kill Goff and
Yeah,
his family and stuff like that. So it was nice to finally. And it's interesting if he gets a second season, what happens with Peacemaker. It'll be interesting going forward, seeing how he interacts in the world now that he does not want to kill.
I give James Gunn all the props on this episode because it had all the makings to be a filler episode, but it still managed to give some characters some extra oomph for you to care about them a little bit more. It developed some storylines enough, and it just kind of keeps the characters moving forward. And it's I don't know if you want to call this the penultimate episode, but we're getting close to it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's all good stuff. I appreciate it all the same. Now, since we're talking about it, really, this is the time that I wish there was 3 episodes coming out at once, not at the beginning.
And you save that for the end, so we could just be like, "Ah!"
I wonder if anyone's gonna try and do it that way. That'd be interesting.
All right. So I guess when it comes to the last couple episodes, this is gonna sound morbid, but I want to see all of these White Dragon followers die.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I want them dead too. They suck.
The weirdest part was like when they were like doing like the montage of everyone getting ready, and then there's the one skinhead girl with just like boobs out and a hood on, and I was just like,
yeah, they
what?
just went. They were like they fully embraced like it was just the KKK, but it had 2 points instead, and it's like okay, so they put pillowcases on their head. Great.
Yeah, we all know what you want.
I'm glad we're not giving these guys any redeeming qualities. So we get to see like some mega awesome James Gunn deaths with these guys, and I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, the 3-point standoff that's getting ready to go down of aliens versus racist versus
task force.
these 6 people.
Exactly. And we all know who's going to prevail, but it's still, that's the thing about shows, man. It's like
Aliens.
you are always like, yeah, well, we know who's going to win, but we're still going to come back and watch it and see how they win.
Yeah.
Interesting that Myrn, he fully admits to being the butterfly to everyone except Chris, obviously. And it's a fun move. I like it a lot how he didn't try and hide it too much. He comes clean. He's like, whatever, man. I mean, I'm trying to help. I understand that it's hard for you to trust me right now, but I really do mean well. So I liked that about his character in this episode.
Who do you think is going to die?
Well, for sure, the racists. Those guys are dying for sure. We can only hope. And we'll do it ourselves. No, I'm kidding. Out of the group, do I think anyone's going to die? They could go like crazy and kill Adebayo. I could see that being the one heartstring one that they kill off at the end here. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking Myrn and maybe Vigilante.
I thought Vigilante first, but then I was like, nah, he's too good. They're not gonna drop that character.
That's a perfect heartstringer though.
I know, but if you have a character that people love so much, it just feels like a waste to just kill him. But maybe they will. I mean, I could see that as well. They did recast the character for reshoots, so I don't know if like the ending to the character had anything to do with that. Maybe they did kill the original Vigilante actor, and then they're like, well, actually, this character's awesome, so we'll just recast him and shoot all the scenes over again. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not James Gunn, or part of that production co, but man, I wish I was James Gunn. That guy's
dope. Throughout this show and the Suicide Squad, my dislike of him because of Guardians has completely went away.
Yeah, you and I are of a similar mind on the Guardians movies, which that's neither here nor there.
No. But yes, after watching this, I'm intrigued on the ending because he's closing out that story. So I'm wondering like how he will do that. But yeah, Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad are better than Guardians 1 and 2 for sure.
The real question is, could they get James Gunn to sign on to just write a whole nother season of this show? Or do you think he's bored with this toy and he's going to move on to a different one?
Well, he already is on talks with them to create another DC thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if they're talking sequel, if they're going to pick another Suicide character and give them this crazy long backstory. There's, they could go King Shark on it. That'd be a fun show to watch.
Oh yeah, and the Nightwing show.
Yeah.
Let's see if it figures itself out. Nope. All right. The thing that I would be very excited to see would be him be like executive producer. Like he says, he doesn't want to become the Kevin Feige of DC, which is fine. But I think allowing him to be the kind of executive producer of a small pocket.
Yeah, like Chris Nolan. Like Chris Nolan was the producer of Man of Steel, and he did the Batman movie. So it's like maybe in that capacity he could be involved. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, or just make him the Suicide Squad guy. Like he handles that little pocket, like what they do in actual comics, where like Grant Morrison was like the Batman guy for a while. He wasn't going out of his way to write for the Flash or anything like that. Like he was a pocket.
They did that again with Scott Snyder years later. They do that a lot with Batman when storyline hits really well. They're like, okay, well this guy's clearly in charge for the next 10 years, and I'm okay with that.
And that's what DC does really well. So I hope they take that and they roll with it and they go like, all right, James Gunn is doing really well with this pocket of characters, the Suicide Squad character. So let's, throw him this bag and he helps pen the next movie and maybe 2 shows and what have you. But you don't ask him to go out and direct a Batman movie or you don't ask him to create the entire universe over. Yeah.
You got to respect the guy for knowing that he doesn't want to do certain things. I got to give him props for that because they'd probably back up truckloads of cash for him to do it. So, hopefully he sticks on for some Suicide Squad stuff. But I think that about wraps it up on this episode. I hope that the listeners enjoyed. Definitely listen to our reading recommendations at the top and let us know what you think of those because I put some thought into mine and I know Noah did as well. Noah, did you have anything else to say in closing here, my friend?
No, just catch us each week. And you know what? whenever the next DC show comes on and we do full reviews, I'm here.
Oh, you guys, we got the commitment on tape. Noah King Bates is now my DC co-host. What a good man. Much appreciated. You win the promotion. Anyways, thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Radioactive Papercuts podcast. Like us, follow us on Instagram, give us a 5-star rating, all that good stuff. And until the next time, you have a good one.